Hey everyone, welcome to the West Side Podcast, where we take a few minutes every week to dive deeper into the sermon and dive deeper into the content that was covered on Sunday, have some conversation around that. And before we go any further, take a minute, just like, subscribe, share this with a friend. It helps us get the word out. It helps us continue kind of the work and the message that we're trying to not just get out to the people of West Side Family Church, but also to our community. So that would help us a ton. And here we are 2 weeks in a row.
Yes,
Pastor
sir.
Dan Diebel diving in. Great word on Sunday, man. Part 2, the power of life-changing prayer.
Yeah.
A couple weeks in a row, diving into the book of Ephesians and looking at some of the prayers Paul prayed. And last week we were working through some of our differences around the University of Georgia and the University of Alabama, and I think we'll just leave those
We need
aside.
not speak about the outcomes.
Yeah. We'll move on from those now. But man, love you, bro. Excited to have this conversation with you. Excited to be diving into this with you. And great word, man. Looking at God's will versus our will, God's power versus our power. And just a great reflection on so many different realities in life around, man, how far does my own willpower take me?
Right.
A lot to unpack with that. But I thought maybe it'd be fun if we started with Lloyd's Law. So your middle name,
famous Lloyd's Law,
just the historically acclaimed Lloyd's Law. So Dan Lloyd Diebel,
yes,
right?
Daniel to be exact. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, man,
there you go.
Daniel Lloyd Diebel. So Lloyd's Law, man. Lloyd is a great guy. Clearly, talk me through that a little bit, because I thought that was a fascinating point that you brought together. But really, I think it's so relatable to all of us. We all operate out of some version of Lloyd's Law.
We do.
And I thought this was a fun place for us to jump in.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me into to be a part of this series, because I love Ephesians. There's just so much there, and this particular passage that you kicked to me was just so right in that constant challenge of, as much as I might use spiritual language and all the Christianese rap on things, there is a core drive in me that says I can do this on my own.
Yep.
Now, we have agency. We co-labor with God. He's given us gifts and talents. But at the end of the day, there is this fierce individualist teenage rebellion in my spirit that says, I got this, right?
Yep.
And so I just started thinking, what would that, I like quirky. I'm not a math guy at all. Like, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But
we're words guys, man.
We are total words guys.
Yeah.
Some might remember last summer, this time, I did a series called Love Math, where I used really bad formulas to talk about the love of God and relationships.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit in that vein, but I'm just like, what if I were to try to put if I'm honest, how I go after most things, what would that look like in formula form? And it was C times I times, I can't remember now.
E.
Thank you, E, right? Which is effort. So competency times intention times effort, divided by the situation or the circumstance that I'm going up against, or it could be opportunity, will equal my power in the situation, right? Like, if I could give myself a score. And what's interesting here is, in my day job, as it were, in consulting and coaching and working with organizations and leaders, this is the game. This is kind of what you coach if you don't have the Lord in the mix. Is, okay, let's upskill your competency. Okay, how intentional are you being? And are you hustling, right?
Are you putting enough effort into it? Yeah.
And so that's why I loved it.
And if those three are big enough, then whatever the situation is, you're still going to have enough willpower to get through it.
You can do it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Adam Sandler in Waterboy. You can do it.
Yes.
You can do it. You can. I mean, but that is the message. It's the TikTok message that everything.
It is. It
right?
sells, man.
Right.
It sells. Yeah.
And I think we have to be honest. It works.
It does.
Until it doesn't.
Mm.
Because all of a sudden you come up against something in your life where you go, oh, the grading scale just changed.
Yeah, the situation is beyond me.
The situation's mine. It's not on a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
It's on a 100-point scale. It's on a 1,000-point scale.
Yeah.
Now what? And I think Paul got there, right? I think the situation for him was beyond him. Without God, he could have never written this letter.
No.
He could have, we were talking about this in our podcast last time.
Yeah.
He could have never practiced this level of gratitude. He couldn't have had standing on his tiptoes, right? With hope. And I think contextually, the people he's writing to, I mean, the whole message is so beautiful because he's trying to tell a people that for centuries upon centuries, the message for them was stay away, Gentiles.
Yeah.
And now, like you 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, you taught on the identity, right? You are, you're a masterpiece. You're all these beautiful things, your identity. And they're not going to grasp that outside the power of God, giving them that understanding. Yeah. And now we're going to marry the most despised Gentiles with Jews, and that wall is going to be torn down, and we're going to all be together in this amazing experiment called the community of Jesus followers. Like, we can't do this with Lloyd's Law. No. We need an altogether different formula. Yeah. For that.
Yeah, that's so good, man. And I think about this prayer and the prayer that we looked at last week around just that you would know, Paul is praying that we would know and experience the immeasurably more of God. Yeah. This reality of at the end of your own strength. And you're right, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or the latest greatest self-help formula or coach, like there is this sense of, man, if you can dream it and you work hard enough, you can achieve it. And that's what America is built on. And that will sell because deep down, all of us know, I probably need to be more disciplined. I probably need to hustle harder. I probably need to make better choices. I probably need to grow in my competency. And if I can just level up in all these areas, then I can face whatever life throws at me and I will have the strength to face the situation until you're up against cancer.
Right.
Or you're up against something in your marriage that is so far broken and beyond you, or you're up against addiction, or you're up against, whatever it may be, death itself in life, that you realize it doesn't matter how competent I am, how much effort I put towards this. I need a power greater than myself to help me. And I think sometimes God will allow the situation to get beyond our control just so we come to him in prayer.
Right.
I mean, I talked about that whole idea of, hey, there's a difference between crisis management and relationship, right? Yeah. And we don't just want to run to God in a crisis. We don't just want to run to God in the dark moments, even though that's exactly where we should run. Right. We want to have the ongoing conversation with him all the time. Right. And I do think that's a little bit of the access point for God's power to be unleashed in our life. For certain, run to him in a crisis, run to him when the situation is beyond your control. That's where you should run. Right. There is a reality of co-laboring with God. We're working out our salvation with fear and trembling because it's God who works in us both to will and to do for his good pleasure. So there is this reality of volition, of will, of choice. But if willpower is all we're bringing to the situation, eventually the situation will be beyond us. And we need to learn what it means to lean into God.
Yeah, in all things. In all ways, in little ways and big ways. And, it's not like use Lloyd's Law until it doesn't work and then switch to, the derivative of Ohm's Law. We need the full voltage of heaven in all things in our life. Yeah. And we need to lower our resistance. And wow, with the ways God has endowed us as image bearers of Him, with competency, with skill, all those things, like in all things. And yet, I just think it's those moments where we come up to the end of ourselves. That does become a liminal moment in our life where we are far more in touch with our frailty and our need for Him. And I think God in His goodness wants to meet us there uniquely.
Yeah. I love that. I think that is so true. And I think kind of leads me to something else you were diving into in the nature of the we versus the me.
Right.
And when Paul is writing this letter, when he is praying these prayers, it's not just even in our own prayer life, like we can get very individualistic, but Paul is he's really putting this whole thing in the context of community.
Yeah.
I love the whole conversation around the hidden life of trees.
Yes.
And fascinating.
It's so fascinating.
Fascinating stuff. I got to read that book. I've got it on my shelf. I've got to read it. But
so you're a Lord of the Rings guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that whole scene, I can't remember which book or whatever, where they're talking and they're walking and they're part of the brigade.
Yes.
Right. Like I always think about that. Reading this book, and again, we have to separate. This isn't like the tree in my backyard that's been cultivated, and we're talking about an ecosystem within a forest.
Yeah.
And just to know that God has infused His creation with relationship.
It's amazing.
And perhaps no other better example in a pronounced way than how trees talk to each other. They send signals, electrical currents, chemicals. They send visual signals. They elicit olfactory scents to one another to warn of danger. They time their photosynthesis in a way where they're all going to grow together. And I was even just reading, get this, bro, a mother tree, like old wise sage of a tree, 400 years old, is going to limit and suppress her youngster trees for like 120 years by limiting the amount of sunlight they get. So that's why a lot of trees in the forest will grow this way versus that way, because the canopy is already covered. They have to wait for some of these, century-old trees to die off before they start shooting upwards. But it's by design because it's creating, stronger, sturdier trees and an overall strength of the forest. And I think that's one of the biggest things. So when Paul, you look here, and he's not just praying. By the way, let's just remember, he's starting by praying for them as a people, not for a person. Does it include persons? Yes. But he's praying for them as a people, the church in Ephesus, and this encyclical nature of it's being, as you said when you kicked off the series, it's being passed around from community to community, likely from house to house. I mean, how cool is that? Yeah. And they're experiencing this, they're reading this as community, as people. And then the second kind of application is, what does this mean for me? There's that Ubuntu African phrase, I am because we are.
Yeah.
And that was their collective mindset. I am because we are, right? We are, I am because I am, right?
Yeah.
I think, therefore I am. So the Enlightenment and post-Enlightenment kind of mindset has shifted us away from really, I think, a biblical understanding.
Yeah.
And so he says in chapter 3, verse 17, right in the middle, he goes, and I pray, what's he praying for? That you, plural, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people. Now he's saying, Ephesus, this isn't even just about you, Ephesus. This is about all the surrounding areas. And I don't know, maybe he's talking about in time and out of time as well.
Yeah.
Like in Hebrews, we're surrounded by a cloud of great witnesses. Sorry, you just teed me up, man.
No, I think you're nailing it. And I think what's so interesting is he uses the phrase rooted and grounded in love.
Yeah.
Which is so like trees, right?
Exactly. That's what made me think of the analogy.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I want Christ to dwell in your hearts through faith, that you would be rooted and grounded in love, to comprehend with all the saints what is the width, the length, the depth, the height, to know the love of Christ that passes knowledge. And it's so wild to me that he's praying for them to know something that is beyond their ability to grasp.
Yes.
I want you to know something, the gnosko. I think that's a powerful reality. It's the deep, intimate knowing. It's the knowing in your guts. It's the knowing in the deepest part of your soul. It passes mere knowledge.
It's intimate knowing.
It's intimate knowing, but I think it's also communal knowing, right? It's this reality is I can't really know I can't know the love of God fully by myself.
Right.
I've got to experience it in you.
Yes.
And I've got to experience it in community. I've got to experience it with others around me. Oftentimes, I just know in my own life, when Lindsay and I have walked through some of the hardest seasons of our marriage, with kids, with church stuff, man, we have experienced the love of God through the tangible care of other people. And there's a reality of God's love that we would never know apart from community. There's a reality of God's love that we would never know apart from friendship with other people that has carried us through those seasons in really powerful ways, which is why if you're going to be rooted and grounded in a community of faith, it's like that community acts as a forest, helping young grow up strong, protecting from storms or threats, communicating to one another, sharing nutrients and resources through the root system so that the whole forest grows strong together. And I think there's something so powerful about that picture.
Bonhoeffer has this phrase in his book, Life Together. He says, sometimes the Christ in a brother is stronger than the Christ in me. Put differently, sometimes the faith in a brother is stronger than my faith.
Yeah.
And I'll just never forget that moment sitting in a car with one of my dearest friends who was on the verge of a divorce. It ultimately led to divorce. And with just bloodshot eyes, he turns to me in the driver's seat and he says, "Is it going to be okay?" And that was a moment where he had such little faith.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
But I could speak hope. I could speak faith. I could speak truth. And I've needed that from him and from my brothers in the ecosystem of faith. We need to be sending, man, through the fungal networks, which is just a fun word, right? Through the fungal networks of how we are anchored and rooted in community, that kind of encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to tie this in as we kind of wrap up our time together. I want to tie this into the series title, because this passage right here is really where I came up with this series title, Made for More, right?
Yeah.
So now to him who is able to do far more abundantly than all we can ask or think, according to the power at work within us. And I love this because you ask the question, what is the power for more? God gives us power so why? And what was it at the very end? And you ended with this question, do I want all of God?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was such a sobering, powerful reminder. Maybe hit on that for a minute, or where that came from, or why that matters.
Yeah, I think there's the right and religious answer, and then I think there's the real answer.
Yeah.
And we all have to kind of come clean on that. And sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no, sometimes it's maybe within an hour, right? But I know for me, my answer in so many of the options that I gave came just from me answering the question. Yes, but only on my terms. So I want to experience intimacy with God without needing to have the need or dependency on God.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have the bank account look a certain way and everything in my life be okay, and God. Who knows? But to let go of that, I want all of God, but I don't want to be like that guy. I don't like how that looks. If that's all of God, I don't know that I want that. So all those different resistances that keep me from from experiencing, and here's the key. The whole point here is the Father loves you.
Yeah.
The Father wants more for you than you could possibly imagine. The Father only wants good for you, not harm. That doesn't mean he'll alleviate all pain in our life this side of heaven. That's the ultimate plan in his redemptive workings. But at the end of the day, do I trust that he's good? Can I grasp that his love is so broad, so high, so wide, so deep, like a tree trunk and a root and a canopy? Because if I believe that about God, I think you said this a couple of weeks ago, right? What I really believe about God, if I believe that he is good, if I believe that he is for me and not against me, if I believe that he can be trusted, then I want all of that.
Yeah.
And what happens? We're given the power to know this love intimately, like walking in the garden in the cool of the day. We're given the ability to grasp this kind of love, which the world has never known. And we're given the ability for his very dwelling within our spirit, right? The full voltage of heaven.
And that changes everything. And I think that's sort of what prayer is about.
Yep.
Because as you continue to grow in prayer and run to God with all things good or bad,
right,
there's a deeper knowing that gets down into your soul.
Yes.
That changes how you approach everything.
Yeah.
In all these different situations. It changes how you look at things, how you experience things. It changes everything. And so, man, I love this. We're out of time for now, but always love the chance to get to sit down with you, chat on these things. Thanks so much for the word that you brought.
Thank you.
Excited to continue on with this series on Ephesians. And friends, thanks for tuning in. We pray this was a blessing for you and encouragement to you wherever you may be on your journey, whether you're at the end of your rope or you're riding high with the Lord. We just pray today you would experience the goodness and the kindness and the love of God that passes knowledge. And before we sign off, just want to encourage you again, take a moment to like, subscribe, share this with somebody else who may need to hear it. Helps us so much as we're continuing to get the word out, provide you with resources for your own journey of faith.
Yeah.
But we love you. Thanks for watching, and we will see you soon.